we need 28.8% of investment, but the question is how we can attract such huge investment. Since I work on regulation, so I will be a little bit biased. You can say that for me, the regulatory framework of Pakistan is the main culprit. To achieve, I think the regulation is the biggest impediment in our investment, in our business environment, and all those things. For that, we need huge deregulation. We need markets. We need to develop markets, and we will talk about it when later in this. And for that, we also need digitization. Here is the current scenario of regulation in Pakistan. In Islamabad, we have more than 122 regulatory agencies which are regulating the businesses. And PIDE has also launched, many of you may know that PIDE sludge audit, and where we try to measure the cost of regulation activity by activity. So far, we have measured that these regulation cost more than 50% of GDP. And here is the graph of sector-wise regulation. You can look at this graph and you can see that there is regulations in almost every sector. And those sectors who are over-regulated, they are underperforming. So what PIDE is proposing as a first intervention for the short-term reform agenda is that we need to modernize our regulation. We need rules, not permissions. And for that, because the permissions is costly, they cost money, they cost time. And to move forward, we have two options. First one is to move from bottom to top, which is called piecemeal reforms. Would you go rule by rule and regulation by regulation and try to address those issues? The second option is that you overhaul the framework or regulatory framework, and that is well known. There is well-known strategy, that is regulatory guillotine strategy, which is very well tested, and there are a lot of countries, they have adopted this strategy to modernize their regulatory framework. And you may have heard that recently UAE has also adopted this strategy. So what is this regulatory strategy? This regulatory, in simple words, regulatory strategy is that at the first stage, you declare all registration, licenses, certificates, and other permissions illegal unless it is approved by the cabinet within a certain period of time. What we are proposing is that give the regulatory agencies 3 months time and ask them to come up with the cabinet and approve the regulations they think that it is necessary. But the approval should be based on the cost-benefit analysis of the regulation. Besides modernizing the existing regulatory framework, we also need to control the regulatory flow as well. Mukarram Saab is here, who has done a lot of work in the BOI to modernize the regulatory framework. But believe me, after 2 or 3 months, when he was able to modernize 1 or 2 regulations, 1 or 2 regulatory agencies have been created. So we are not controlling the flow. Actually, the flow also need to be controlled. And for that, we are proposing, we need to implement regulatory impact analysis based on these parameters. So the action which we are proposing are 2. First, we need to modernize our regulatory framework based on regulatory guillotine strategy. And secondly, we need a new act for ensuring good regulation based on regulatory impact assessment. So what would the economic benefit this initiative or this reform will induce in our economy? We have also measured this based on our sludge audit. Here is our projections. If we modernize our regulatory framework and control the flow of regulations, it will bring around about 3.9% growth in our economy for the very first years. And it will generate new jobs, 2.8 million new jobs, as well as it will increase our investment. Over the years, if it goes around on the third round, our growth will be 4.37% additional growth because of this reform. And if we move forward, here is the impact of this regulatory modernization reform until 2026. And here is the impact on job creation. And this is the impact on the economic growth. So these are the PIDE's projections. So this is our first reform idea. And we would like to have a discussion on this idea, your opinion, your thoughts, and what would be the way forward. To lead the discussion, I would like to invite Ma'am Afia.
Okay, now the floor is open for discussion. Please raise your hands. And again, be precise. We have 20 minutes for this, for discussing this issue. Please.
So we have the representatives from the Board of Investment as well as Mukarram Saab also here. Mukarram Saab, would you like to add something? Gurukar Saab.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to see that more work has been done. And indeed, if we deregulate, that is going to be one really important factor within the control of the governance to grow the economy, to create jobs. I think time is to pass on the mic to Zulfikar Saab from BOI, because they have taken the recommendation of PIDE, and they have been working on a regulatory guillotine law, which is being called Asan Karobar Act. So that is in the works. I think he can tell us a bit more about what they're planning to do. And I think they've also been doing some RIA's workshop for different regulators.
Thank you, Mr. I'm Zulfikar, DG Policy for BOI. I've been involved in this reforms journey in BOI. First of all, I would like to tell the audience that bureaucrats usually thrive on the regulations. We wake up in the morning and make some new regulations for the businesses. And if I roughly say that around 800 regulators are working in Pakistan in the 3 tiers of the government, at the federal level, at the provincial level, and at the local level. And if we talk about the total number of regulations for businesses only, these are roughly 15,000 for the different businesses in Pakistan. So we are quite a overly regulated economy, and we do all kinds of regulation for the businesses. To cut these regulations to the normal size or to the standard size as per the best practices of the world, we have drafted a Asan Karobar Act, and which is lying in the parliament at the moment, to table in the parliament or in the National Assembly, and as it is quite due now, as the parliament is in place now. And for that Asan Karobar Act, we are going to introduce the National Regulatory Delivery Office, NRDO, under which we are going to chop all the unnecessary regulations by a stroke of pen by the presidential order. So we have consulted on this Asan Karobar Act with different stakeholders, the business organizations, OICCI, TBC, FPCCI, and different sectoral associations, and they are very much in line with our objective of stopping all these unnecessary regulations in Pakistan. As far as the regulatory impact assessment is concerned, we have conducted 3 workshops in Lahore, Karachi, and Islamabad, with different regulators to make them realize that impact assessment is key for the new regulations. If we go for the impact assessment, we will be able to generate smarter regulations in future. Hopefully, once the Asan Karobar Act is in place or legislated by the parliament, we will be able to guillotine all the unnecessary regulations. So this is the update on the Asan Karobar Act. We have also drafted a zero time to start a policy for the smaller and medium enterprises in Pakistan. And we are hoping that it will also be approved by the cabinet very soon. And by virtue of this zero time to start a policy, all the businesses which want to set up their business in Pakistan with no risk involved, they can start businesses upfront without any NOC. So we are very much.
Let me interject here. Besides regulatory framework modernization, there is also serious issues on the implementation of the regulation as well. What we are proposing is digitization as the minimum interference with human interference. But the recent one of my foreign friend told me that he visited Pakistan's single window, which is a great initiative according to us of digitization. But his assessment is that what you have done is actually listed whole process there, but you have not changed the processes. The processes are there. If I have to take NOC from CDA, the process is the same. So his assessment is that digitization doesn't mean that you just give us some web page where the information is. You also have to modernize the processes as well as. So what BOI are other ministries are doing on in implementation?
Well, thank you very much. We are going to start a new project under the name DEEP, Digital Economy National Project, and it has been approved by the World Bank, and the TA will come from that World Bank for the digitization of whole of the economy. And BOI is planning to start or is planning to form a Pakistan business portal, a single window for all the businesses where they can register and obtain all RLCOs from one point. And so we are in the process of business re-engineering processes. So hopefully.
Okay, sir, we got your point.
Thank you.